This is an experience I'm having with the client at the moment. He come to me from a referral from someone who heard I was good with shoulders. The shoulders is one of my specialties. I love treating shoulders. He's got a frozen shoulder, and there's when people say they've got a frozen shoulder, I always ask how long has it been, and has it been diagnosed as adhesive capsulitis and stuff like that. True frozen shoulder is adhesive capsulitis. The the joint lining changes, and it becomes, when they do exploratory surgery inside, they say it looks like chewing gum, and it moves like chewing gum when it's stuck on your shoe, like it's so sticky. And it's got 3 phases. It's really painful nearly in all the phases except when it's frozen, and really reduced range of motion. People use notice that they can't brush their hair properly anymore. It's like harder to do, and then there's pain at night, and it's usually worse at night and stuff like that. So really reduced range of motion. But there's some that people think they've got a frozen shoulder, but it's just a rib slightly out that'll cause the shoulder not be able to move very well. And I've had sessions with people who's like, my shoulder's frozen, I can't lift my arm. And by sometimes within 10 minutes, they got full range back in their arm, because I was able to release the sensitivity that's in the shoulder and the muscles, and essentially the spinal cord not letting the muscles wind up their full power because of some reason. So anyway, his is a true adhesive capsulitis. He was due to get surgery, which is a hydrodilation, they call it. They fill the joint with water and they expand it to help to break up the adhesions, and they mobilize it. They actually try to get all the range back, and it's pretty traumatic sort of thing to think about. But I've heard people doing it and getting massive results. There's always a big change in range of motion. The pain still doesn't seem to make that much difference, I've heard. But every case is a bit different. Anyway, so when my experience with frozen shoulders, I've treated a few, and like there's not much, I don't get much out of people with frozen shoulders, like a true frozen shoulder. It's like everything I've been taught is like, it doesn't work like they said they would, like it would, and it fucking annoys me, to be honest. And so I just, in the end, I stopped treating frozen shoulders. Like, no, there's nothing I can do for you. You know, I just release muscles, but we're not going for any situation that's going to make a major change here, because I just hadn't seen it with all my training. Fucking just hadn't seen it. But Bowen Therapy has a protocol for frozen shoulders. Like, okay, I'll use it. I'll see what happens. And it wasn't just that. I was this time I'm going into the emotion inside the shoulder, and frozen tears is usually what frozen shoulder is about. Frozen tears and grief. And I mentioned to him, you know, shoulders are often, you know, frozen tears and grief. And he's like, and he connected to it straight away. And he goes, it's to do with my mum, who's in the UK, and you can't see her, and she's dying of cancer. And I said, you know, when this started, was there a big event happen? He goes, yeah, my mum was diagnosed with cancer, and it really hit me, and she's not doing one thing about it. She's in total denial and all sorts of stuff. And I started playing with all this stuff to do with his relationship with his mother and the dynamics and things he's never been happy with, and who she is and stuff like that. So did a process, unwound a heap of stuff in a few minutes just with one of the processes I do, and that really unlocked a few things. And he goes, I can just feel there's such a wall between what's on the other side of that pain there and who I let myself be during the day. I'm going, would you say it's frozen? Like a frozen ice wall. He's like, yeah, actually. And sometimes the metaphors are quite literal. And yeah, so he said, you know, it was still painful after the first session, but it was different. And he said, I can contact that through that wall better. And he's very open to working emotionally, because and what he found was, as soon as we did the process with his mum, he goes, I know I don't need the surgery now. It's like, that was an intuitive thing. I don't need it. I didn't want to do it. And after hearing what the connection we just made was, I don't need it. My soul just going, I don't need this surgery. Had a really good session with him last night, just running some of the techniques through his shoulder to help him release the emotion that's in the shoulder, connect to it more, work with some patterns to do with dishonesty with his mother and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, it's changing him. And what it is, there's massive purpose in this problem. So frozen shoulders can hang around for, you know, 10 months or 2 years, sometimes more. But yeah, I'm really, you know, we're doing the Bowen Therapy protocol plus all this emotional work. And I'm keen to see, you know, does this shift it quicker than usual? Because I'm getting results where normally the stuff that I've learned doesn't get results. And I bought, you know, programs on how to treat frozen shoulders, and I do the stuff on there, and it's like, doesn't fucking work. It obviously worked for you, but it doesn't work for me. And you're not going to tell, it pisses me off a fair bit. But yeah, this way, it seems to be making a difference. So there's 2 of my teachers believe that there's emotional causation from pretty much every problem that people come with in their body. And I believe that to a large degree, but there's some things that are physical as well. to do biomechanics and stuff like that. But there's usually, you can still find emotional drivers behind it and stuff like that. It's like, why do people push them so hard when they get these overuse injuries? You know, it's a physical injury, but why are they pushing themselves so hard? What's the anxiety they're trying to move away from? What's the emotion they can't handle? Looking into that. Hope you will.